Hello, thank you for being part of an IADR webinar as a speaker, host, moderator, or panelist. To prepare and ensure that the webinar is successful, we ask that ahead of the webinar, you ensure your Zoom window is up to date. To do this, open your Zoom desktop application and click Check for Updates. If there are any updates, please install them and reset your Zoom. If you are all up to date, you should be good for the day of the live webinar. We have additional webinar resources on our website. By going to the menu and clicking Webinars and Continuing Education and scrolling to the bottom, you can find resource guides in this training guide PDF for all speakers to prepare for the live webinar. Note that as a speaker, you will join the webinar differently from those attendees. All speakers were sent an email that should have a personalized link to join the webinar as a panelist. Note that if you do not join as a panelist, you will not be able to have the correct permissions and join the webinar before the webinar starts and goes live for the public audience. Click the link and it will launch a window for your Zoom. It'll launch a Zoom window. This Zoom window, you will want to open your Zoom meetings. Note that if you are in a region of the world in which the Zoom desktop application does not work, you can join from browser as well and have most of the same functionality as the actual Zoom desktop application. The Zoom desktop application will launch and you will be placed within the Zoom webinar practice session. Note that this practice session means that live attendees cannot see you or hear from you and will allow us to test your audio and your equipment ahead of time. This is why we ask all speakers to join and log in at least 15 minutes before the scheduled start time so that everything can be tested before we go live to the public audience. You will want to join with your computer audio, and you will want to make sure that your video and your mic are working. Additionally, at the start of the practice session, we will help you in testing your share screen to make sure your slides display properly. Note that during the live webinar, we will use the Q&A module as well as the chat module to interact with live attendees. If during your presentation you would like to use polls, you are welcome to do so. We just ask that you send to IADR Global Headquarters the questions and answers that you would like to have included in your poll ahead of time so that we can set those up and then be ready to launch. Note that attendees, if you are inviting other attendees to the webinar, will not join through that personalized link, but will use the IADR Webinar and CE On Demand platform to join the session. To navigate to the CE On Demand platform, they will visit the IADR website and open the IADR Webinar and CE On Demand platform. From there, they will need to log in. Note that logging in is not restricted just to IADR members, but individuals can create an account as a non-member and log into the platform to be trackable. Once they are in the platform, they will go to the Events tab, scroll down, and find the webinar in the upcoming live events. The webinar is also listed under Courses, as well as the recorded webinar will be listed under Courses. So they would go find the webinar, click the webinar, and see all the details for that upcoming webinar, including the webinar evaluation and the way to claim CE credit. So if webinar attendees need to claim CE credit, they will need to go to the course menu. Note that if you as a speaker want to claim CE credit for your presentation, let IADR Global Headquarters know, as since you are using a back-end way to get into the system, the same route will not work right off the bat. If you have any additional questions about your presentation or participation within the IADR webinar, please do not hesitate to reach out to IADR Global Headquarters at meetings@iadr.org. Thank you.